Hi guys, welcome to yet another review, and this time around I've got for you the Tipsy M1. This is a single DD from Tipsy, a brand that I've got a good affinity with. I like their style of tuning. I like the way they do things. Two that jump to mind are the TT Romso and the speaker. TT Romso also a single DD, 12mm driver if I'm not mistaken, while the speaker is a 1+2, which funny enough I actually forgot to include in that list of forgotten IEMs, in this particular case of 1+2 hybrids that are actually pretty impressive. So if you guys watch that review of mine of the forgotten IEMs of 1+2 format, well, the Tipsy speaker is definitely belonging to that group. Anyway, this time around, what we have here is the M1. It's another one of these drivers, or unusual drivers, in that they're using a bamboo diaphragm driver. I got this particular unit from HiFIGO. The price there is $79. And much like I already said about, excuse me, and much like I said about the wood note, where the usage of an unusual diaphragm then does mean that you can do things with the tuning and get away with certain things that if you were using other drivers you would not be able to. I mean, in the case of the wood note, with that amount of energy in the mids and upper mids, if you were perhaps using a beryllium driver or a titanium driver, things would not have ended up as well rounded and as well balanced as they did in the case of the wood note. And this is another example. The M1 using this bamboo driver has allowed for it to have an interesting tuning, which has worked extremely favorably. The IM is this over here, as you can see, resin shell, nice little build quality. It's got a nice little faceplate design. The cable is not it's not a particularly great cable, but it is also isn't bad. It's fine. My only real nitpick is the fact that they've got very few tips coming with the IM. But look, it is what it is. It is $79 after all, so I guess you could expect a little bit more, but I guess you also can't complain when you've got something so, let's say, out of the box and unique, in the sense that you are using, or that you are having, a driver which is not common to be seen as much. So what did I bring out here to kind of sit the M1 with? Well, I've got here the IVipQ Klee, and I've got here the Puller Unicrom, which has been all the rage now lately. And this is a nice way of kind of putting these placing the M1 rather, in that each one of them are really good at the particular way that they've been tuned. Okay, if you want a more high energy sound profile with a bass that kind of does seem slightly more laid back, but it's got still good energy, very detailed, very clean, definitely the Klee is the one to go. And another IM that honestly I don't understand why it didn't get more success. It's well built, it plays phenomenally well. I mean, now during these sales I've seen this thing for $45. Trust me when I say you cannot go wrong for $45. The Unicrom doesn't need much to be said. I mean, it's all about being smooth. You know, that delayed pinna gain, and then nice extension all the way. It's got a beryllium driver that's helping out with that fact that they can get away with the later peak of the pinna gain, but still keep a nice, clean, detailed sound. And there's loads of detail here, trust me. And then the M1 follows more or less the same bass profile as the others, but it has the same sort of pinna gain as the Klee, so it peaks a little bit earlier at around 2K roughly, and then starts down from there onwards. But the interesting thing is that again, the balance that they've struck is a very nice balance, the warmer sounding out of all of them. So this is the brighter sounding, this is the warmer sounding, and this is probably the more balanced sounding, if you want to put it that way. But each one of them is really good, honestly. And you know, if I'm going to go down the road of pure price point, what you can get, and that what will please most people, then definitely Unicrom is the one that will probably be the one taking most choices. But trust me when I say, be it the M1 or be it the Klee, they also really deserve a lot of attention. I would probably say that maybe the M1 will be a little bit more in the liking than the Klee, especially if maybe you're a little bit of an older listener and don't like that overly intense upper registers, which isn't the case of the Klee, mind you. I mean, I'm saying this and kind of might get the impression that, oh no, the Klee's got no. The Klee is detailed, yes, it's detailed, but it's got a very nicely balanced sound with the bass. It's just that the tendency here is for it to be the more detailed or the brighter sounding ultimately. The M1, the darker sounding, let's say the more organic, and the Unicrom has got this nice compromise between both territories. It's got great extension at both extremes, phenomenal vocal presentation, but it's still got loads of detail. There's nothing lacking here, and like as I said, when I show you now the graphs, you'll understand they all have their own tuning style, and it all works. All of them, they are excellent side grades, let's put it this way, especially if you can pick them up at a reduced price. Why not? I mean, definitely I would say go for it. So bass here in the Tipsy, it's the bass that has the most extension, I would say. Not by much, but it's more of a product of perception because of the way that then the mids, upper mids, and treble are tuned. The 100 Hz point corresponds to roughly 2K, which is the peak of the pin again, and then it starts dropping off from there. So you could maybe think, it's going to be a little bit forward sounding or something. No, because there's a nice amount of energy below 100 Hz, which kind of just gives a very nice tonality. It's the IEM out of these three, and again, I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but trust me, they all sound phenomenally good. But it's the M1 is the one of the three that you feel more that sensation of rumble in terms of the bass. Okay. Otherwise, you take a song like, for example, Sweat by J.K. Reviv remix. I mean, all of the three, any one of the three does it, really well. I would probably say the one that might end up being the most energetic and conveying the energy of the song is probably the Klee, but you won't get bored of it on the M1. You won't get bored of it on the Unicrom. Elephant by Carol Duboc as well. Any one of the three does it phenomenally well. Personally, I would pend more towards the Puller and the M1. That's my personal taste. Swept Away by another song by Carol Duboc. Again, these two take the cake there. House of Groove by Eugene Groove. All three do it really well. Nothing there that can be said. A little fugue in G minor. I would say Puller and M1 again take the lead, but it's just more of a personal taste than really in reality what ends up being, I guess, the case for many people. With different genres of music, let's say if I'm gonna be listening to some EDM or some sort of some electronic music, Control by Jeremy Olander or Circus Stelt by Mira. Any one of the three does it phenomenally well. I guess the ones that will be the easiest to listen at higher volumes because they scale really well, it's the M1 and the Puller. The Klee, when you start pushing the volume, it scales well up to a certain extent, but then because of the fact that it's the three that has the most energy in the mids, upper mids, and treble, it starts becoming a little bit too intense. But hey, look, this is me trying to fault things, okay? So ultimately, bass here on the M1, good. It's a nice, smooth, really rumbly bass. Enough impact to give mid bass the necessary presence. Mids really well done. I would say probably male vocals shine as compared to female vocals, and then a nice gradual drop off with giving good extension with the treble. The treble is non-fatiguing. It's smooth. It's really good. In terms of its technicalities, definitely timbre and tonality, much like the Puller. I would say soundstage and imaging. micro details, you will get more out of the Klee, for example. You will get more out of the puller, but still not in any way a problem or an area where it comes short in any significant manner. And that's basically it, guys. I mean, you know, it's like I've said countless times, we've got tons of really good IEMs. The M1, and I think the biggest problem with the M1 is going to be the fact that you have stuff like the puller at the same sort of price. You've got the Quiet C2 as well at more or less the same price. You've got the Keyfine Delchi, the OG and the AE version. You've got the EA500. You've got a lot of really very competent sounding IMs at this price point of, you know, 50, 60, 70, $80. And you know, you gotta do something really special. I think the special sauce here lies in the fact that they've used a different driver, a bamboo diaphragm driver, and they've tuned the IM really nicely. It's a nice, easy, smooth listen. It's organic, it's musical. You know, nothing that can be considered or taken as a complaint in any manner. All right, and that's that, guys. Let me show you the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so here's the graph for the Tipsy M1. And as you can see, a nice big, you know, bass section in terms of sub-bass energy. That 100 hertz point corresponds to roughly 2 kilohertz, give or take. That energy there can in any way, will in any way mitigate any possible, let's say, excessive forwardness of the upper mids here, which honestly doesn't really happen because the tonality of the driver is anything but. I would say even that they could have given it a little bit more energy and it still sound amazing. Bass is nice and smooth, you know, just progressive, clean, nice rumble, nice weight to the nose. It's clean, it's resolving, handled anything I threw it well, didn't really have an issue. If anything, maybe just a little bit more incisiveness and the impact of the slams with the mid bass, but hey, yeah, that's just me nitpicking. Mids, upper mids and treble, phenomenal, really well done. Again, nothing I can point as an issue here. As compared to, for example, with the puller, as you can see, a lot of similarities in the tuning, a lot of similarities. Yes, the puller is definitely more detailed. Upper registers, a little bit more detail in the treble as well. So better technically, more capable technically wise in terms of being a bigger soundstage and so on. But you know, it's two very different, ultimately it's two different sounds that complement each other. More rumbly on the M1, more detail on the Unicrom. And as for the Klee, again, very nicely done tuning, a lot of energy here in the upper mids and treble, which it's noticeable. It's very capable in that aspect, and the bass has got a nice slam to it, more slam than the M1, but it loses a little bit in terms of its sub bass extension. You know, it's again been a trade-off, either sub bass extension or slam. But the reality is this: any one of the three, like I mentioned, is really well tuned. And they sound phenomenal, excellent. I mean, let me just put you this in red so you guys can have a quick, there you go, in red. So you got there in red the Unicrom from Puller, in blue the IVipQ Klee, and in orange the Tipsy M1. Any one of these three IEMs, extremely capable, well priced, and you know, ultimately we have yet another option, another possible choice, but at least one thing's for sure, it's a good choice. It's a well executed IEM in basically every aspect. All right, you take care now. Any questions, please feel free to ask me. Take care.